We gotta do this quick because it's hot. Hi guys, I'm Amy. Welcome back to my channel. I have a book haul for all of you. I've acquired books from various places like the dollar store, the library, Target, my favorite used bookstore here in town. Lots of wonderful places, so if you'd like to see the books that I've picked up, then go ahead and keep on watching. The first book that I have for you all was a dollar store find, and that is Ferocious, A Hungry Reader Cooks Her Way Through Great Books by Cara Nicoletti. And Cara Nicoletti is a cook and a butcher and a pastry chef and an avid reader and a blogger. And this is about her reading different books and then cooking the recipes that they talk about in those books. So each book that is mentioned in here, everything from Emma, The Bluest Eye, The Boxcar Children, Moby Dick, In Cold Blood, all kinds of books are mentioned in here, has its own chapter and a recipe to go with it. And I'm really excited just to dip in and out of this as I read books mentioned here and try out the recipes and such. And it's also illustrated, so it's a really pretty book, and I just figured why not. I also found a book that I've almost bought too many times to count, but obviously there's a reason for it because I picked this one up very inexpensively at my local library, used, and that is The Kitchen House by Kathleen Grissom. This is a very well-loved historical fiction about an orphan girl from Ireland named Lavinia who ends up working in the kitchen house at a southern plantation under the tutelage of Belle, who is the master's or the slave owner's illegitimate daughter. So this is about Lavinia kind of having one foot in both areas on the plantation with the slaves and the servants, but also that are in the kitchen house, but then also in the big house, helping out the master's wife and getting to know the master's son. I've heard wonderful things about this book. I have a feeling I will love it. I'm hopeful that I will love it, and I'm hoping to get to this one soon, as it is very hot and sweaty, as you can see, in the southern plantation vibes. I think will go right along with that. The next book that I found I didn't even know existed, but I figured I should just add it to my collection because it's too pretty not to, and that is Nightbird by Alice Hoffman. This is a middle grade book about a young girl who's been very isolated from the rest of the world and specifically told not to go into this one house that was rumored to have witches in it. And then a family moves in with a couple young girls, and this particular little girl befriends them, and there's magic and mystery and that type of thing, and I'm very excited to read it. I've not read any Alice Hoffman before, and I'd love to give it a shot. And this book is also beautifully published. These are the end pages with this gorgeous illustration. So again, super excited to get to it and sharing, like, can you guys see that? You probably can't see it, can you? The imprint of the feather on the naked hardback. I mean, at the dollar store. Too good to pass up, guys. Too good. I also decided that I wanted to do a reread of a book this summer, but said book is packed away in storage as my husband and I currently do not have a house of our own, but it's a book that I love so much that I decided to get another edition of, because I do tend to do that, especially with classics, of collecting different editions of books that I love. Little Women, Pride and Prejudice, Now a Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and to add to that list, I now have a second copy of North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is a beautiful story about Margaret Hale, whose father was a preacher, but when he is not sure what he believes anymore, he leaves that profession and they move up north into a manufacturing town, not home, and she meets John Thornton, who is the mill owner in that area, and this is about their relationship and Margaret's relationship with her family and the poverty she sees and how she handles it. And I just remember loving this book, and it's time for a reread because Elizabeth Gaskell is too good not to reread, and these vintage classics editions are just gorgeous, and my Wives and Daughters copy is also in the same edition, so I thought they would look very nice together. Another great find from the sale section of my library was A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This is a very popular, at least to my knowledge, fantasy story that takes place in modern day with witches and vampires and a mysterious book, and it's always a book that's intrigued me, so when I saw it for only $1, I figured I'd add it to my collection. I'm not in a super big rush to get to this one, but who knows, with my very limited collection, as most of my books are packed up, like I mentioned, I may get to it sooner rather than later. I also have a memoir here in this bunch, and that is Reading Lolita in Tehran by Azir Nafisi, and this is about this woman's experience teaching in Iran, and specifically having this secret group in which her and a few select female students got together and discussed banned books that were by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Jane Austen, a lot of Western literature, and it's about her experience doing that and interacting with these girls, and I feel like it'll be a very, very beautiful story. I'm excited to get to it and have heard good things, so hopefully it'll live up to the hype I've created of it in my head. Another booktube darling to add to this bunch, especially as of late, is The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. This is a contemporary romance novel that is taking booktube by storm. It is about an interracial couple who meet when an elevator breaks down at a hotel, and she agrees to be his date for his ex's wedding, and the story ensues from there, and I've heard really, really fun, great things about it. I've read the first couple pages and it seems very cute, and I have no doubt when I need a good, lighthearted, fun read like I've been looking for in a romance as of late, this book will hopefully meet that need. I also picked up Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows by Bali Kaur Jaswal, and this is a book about a woman who is teaching creative writing at a community center to a group of Punjabi widows, when in actuality it's really an English class, but these particular women come across this book of erotic stories, and it kind of sparks some things in them and the desire to look at life a little bit differently, I believe. That's about all that I know about it, but I've heard some good things. I feel like this one's been flying under the radar on BookTube, but the things I have heard have been good, so I'm excited to give this one a shot. I had never heard of this next book until I heard May at May Cho talk about this book on her channel. She's a recent find of mine here on BookTube, and I really, really enjoy her channel, but she absolutely gushed about this book to the point that I immediately went and bought it from Amazon, and that is The Hen Who Dreamed She Could Fly by Sun Mi Hwang, and translated from the Korean by Chi Yong Kim. And this is a very, very, very popular book in Korea, and this is a book about a chicken named Sprout. She is a egg-laying hen and has never been out of her coop, and all she wants in life is to actually be able to hatch one of her eggs. And this is her story about how she flies the coop, I guess you could say. That's a horrible pun. I apologize, guys. I couldn't help myself. But I have read this book and really, really loved it. You'll hear more about it on my channel, I'm sure. But yeah, I was really, really excited to pick this one up and really enjoyed reading it. The last book that I have to share with you is another book that's come recommended to me by several booktubers, but specifically Laura at Paperback Winter. She is another one that has a wonderful channel that I love watching her videos. And this is one of her favorite books, and that is I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. And this is a bit of a modern classic. This is about a few young girls growing up in the English countryside in a crumbling castle with a family that doesn't have a lot of money. And then one summer, the heirs to this estate show up, and there are some boys, and I believe there's some romance and some growing up that happens, and a very slow-paced, wonderful story that seems completely up my alley. So I have super, super high hopes for this one, despite the fact that I got an edition that I didn't want, because if you need to know this about me, little story time, if I know a book has tons of editions, I will go on Goodreads and look at the different ones, and then pick the one I want and put that ISBN number in Amazon. Boom, that pops up, I buy it. I put the ISBN number for this one in Amazon, and that's what popped up. But this is what came in my mail. I'm a little bit disappointed by it because the Vintage Classic Edition I think is beautiful, but the story is the same, so it really doesn't matter. This was just a reminder that I don't need to be so superficial about books sometimes. But regardless, I'm really, really excited to read this. I'm hoping to get to it soon because I think it'll be a good summer read. There you have it, guys. There are some books that I've acquired recently. I'm very excited to get to some of these especially, and I'm hoping you will see them in some wrap-ups to come, because I'm trying to read the books that I buy, because, you know, that's what we should do with the books that we buy, is we should read them, right? But I think that's all I have for you guys. But if you guys have read any of these books, please let me know what your opinions were on them. I always love hearing from all of you, or if you're interested in any of them. again, let me know, or just say hi, because I love that as well. And from a very sweaty me, if you liked this video, please like it, and if you loved it, please subscribe, and we'll see you in my next video. Happy reading! Fan break. Okay, now sprint through the rest of this haul. Oh, I didn't turn that off. Whoops.